sort of ran into Charlie. I had this breezeway of a room at the Kruger House, and it was rather close to the driveway. So I'm asleep about 1:30, I don't know, whatever the time was. Must have been a slow night, but anyway, I was asleep. And this car pulls into the driveway, and I said, okay, that's fine. And all of a sudden, the overture from Tannhauser goes, and I thought, well, this is nice, you know. So the next day, at sort of breakfast was, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever it was. It turns out, Charlie mentions that, it's got this great new car, it's a great new stereo system, and it just wows the ladies. Oh, okay, fine. So, time goes on, next weekend comes, I go to sleep, and it's the Meistersinger. And I said, well, he must be taking out a lot of classical work. The other brief story that sort of illustrates Charlie's upbringing and his ability to turn a story and a humor into something that we all knew and loved. Ann Brewster and myself were cooking up an extravaganza of a dinner. And it had, I don't know really what the menu was, but it had smoked fish, and it had sauteed fish, and it had steamed fish. Gosh, I was all that. Charlie comes into the kitchen and he says, I don't do this fish thing. I grew up fish on Fridays. And fish on Fridays was a hell of a thing to endure. Okay, Charlie, we'll take care of you. So we got him some very nice lamb chops. I could put some little leggies on them, and Charlie was happy. Well, in the process, everybody's getting up and congratulating and thanking, and dinner is wonderful. And Charlie gets up finally and he says, listen, thank you for all these things. I appreciate them, but I want you to know, yes, it was a great dinner and all of that, but if it wasn't for people like me having these lamb chops, the whole world would be awash with all these goddamn sheep. Personal, often humorous, but certainly a very poignant way. And thank you for inviting me.
Charlie once said that the Kruger House kitchen was the only place you could go on a Friday night and know everybody would be glad to see him. We all felt that way. It was our family in a lot of ways. Charlie and I met at a party in the Hamptons. It was at 32 Beach Lane. Some of you remember those parties, catered by Rums of Puerto Rico. And held for 300 of your nearest and dearest friends and whoever else happened to be passing by. It was dark, lit by strings of lights in the trees. And I was cornered by a little fat guy who would not be deterred. I was getting pretty desperate when a tall, good-looking guy loomed over us and said to me, "What the hell are you doing here?" As I recall, I sort of stammered, "What do you mean?" He said, "We agreed I had Long Island and you got the city." As I caught on, I said, "Well, I was invited." And he said, "You incredible bitch. You screamed and yelled at me all those years." And I said, "Well, I wasn't the one who would curl up in the kitchen And we looked around and the twerp had melted into the crowd. And the tall guy smiled and said, "Hi, I'm Charlie Keller." Now, a lot of you folks are musical, but you don't need a really great voice to sing the chorus to limericks, okay? And every weekend, toward the end of the summer, both at Kruger House and Duckwood, we would have the annual awards dinner. Now, you have to understand there weren't any awards. I mean, it was sort of something that was kind of a celebration of the summer and of the people in the house. There were things that were written by parts of the Gang of Four, some of which are on the board over there, which sort of lampooned all of us. There were a whole series of them up in our dining room. But the big thing was after dinner, we would all do limericks. Now, here's the chorus, and I expect everybody to join in. Quack, 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 quack. It's more dirt from the Duckwood kitchen table. So sing us another verse that's just like the other verse. We all know it's more fact than fable. Quack, 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 quack. It's more dirt from the Duckwood kitchen table. So sing me some verse that's worse like the other verse. We all know it's more fact than fable. Charlie left us too soon, don't we know? Memories linger of times high and low. When he did the troops makeup, everybody would break up. His humor could make us all glow. Quack, 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 quack. It's more dirt from the Duckwood kitchen table. So sing us another verse that's worse like the other verse. We all know it's more fact than fable. Now his late hair gained color, it lacked. The Duckwooders all would have quacked. Nature's hand was unclear. It was orange, or near. So we told him to clean up his act. Charlie loved friends, he really was rare. But some girls he found specially fair. Oh, he dated and dated. His quest unabated. I guess it continues up there. Duckwood kitchen table. So sing us another verse that's worse than the